Most people quit longsword training not because they're bad, but because they hit a plateau and they just quit. And I've been there. But the Black Templars call it a test of faith. And trust me, I've hit more plateaus than I can count. And this video topic may seem very silly to you, but I'll show you why you have to never step back, just like Black Templars. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Michael Cousin and I have over 2 years of experience with longsword, fighting and practicing and training in historical European martial arts, which is basically a practice of real sword fighting. I've been to different tournaments and I know how hard it is to actually train sword fighting, not to just think and talk about it, right? I train under Polish HIMA World Champions and I help beginners to start their own sword fighting journey. Of course, showing beginners how to start without extreme fitness and expensive gear, because that's exactly how I started. And that's why I also created my free school community, the link in the description, called START SWORDFIGHTING, which is completely free. There's also a free beginner program for longsword because it's my favorite weapon. So scroll down and click the link in the description to join us. Why Black Templars? Because it's a perfect allegory to our sword fighting path, our sword fighting practice. It may seem silly, right? Because it's just fictional faction that I really like, right? But let me get into deeper meaning of all of this. So let me start from just bits of lore. The Black Templars are space marines or Adeptus Astartes from the universe called Warhammer 40,000. And these space marines, these so-called transhuman super warriors, have different view on their objective, on their path. They are not about rank chasing. They're about the eternal combat mastery and the perfect resolve in the face of death and failure. The Black Templars are on this so-called eternal crusade in this galaxy. But that's a whole another lore topic that I can get into. But just in short, the eternal crusade is a perfect allegory to our eternal training, eternal mastery without an endpoint. In sword fighting, in HIMA specifically, there is no such thing as retirement. There's no such thing as I know every technique and I know how to use it perfectly. Like there is no such thing as I've made it. I'm there, so I don't need to progress further. Also, the Black Templars are the close combat specialists. They use a lot of different melee weapons such as chainswords, power swords, power mauls, lightning claws, thunder hammers, power fists, and so much more, right? Because they like to deliver the God Emperor's retribution to their foes personally. The meaning behind of this is that our truth, our real skill, our real resolve is revealed to us up close when it's personal. This mirrors historical European martial arts or sword fighting perfectly because you can't fake good distance management. You can't fake good pairing techniques. You can't fake good attacks and so much more. You can't fake that still resolve and be calm under the real pressure of sword fighting. And you just know that your plateaus are part of your path, right? I've hit so many plateaus. The first one was when I started out just on my sword fighting practice with longsword, with the padded longswords and with a fencing mask in low gear environment. And it was around 1 year after I started out, right? I wasn't basically progressing, but I knew if I just stick to training, I knew that eventually I'll become better. I needed to just push through that invisible wall that was holding me back. So these plateaus were just stages of my personal crusade. If you're still wondering where I've got that banner, I've got it for Christmas from my girlfriend. So yeah, it was a perfect gift. Continuing on with my topic, let me just tackle a bit specific units of Black Templars. The first one is the Crusaders Squad, which is the backbone of the whole crusade. It's a battle line unit. It's the beginner phase of every Astartes in Black Templars. Crusaders Squad consists of full-fledged Astartes, so Space Marines, called Initiates, and also Neophytes, which are the apprentices to each of the Initiate. In swords, it's a knight-squire dynamic that you can commonly see in medieval times. So each neophyte fights alongside his master, so his initiate. And also initiates may spend most of their lives in this stage, in this rank. And they see it as an honor in a way. how it ties to our HEMA journey. So beginners may think that being basic is bad, but that's completely wrong. In reality, most of your fears, most of your training, most of your sparring sessions are in these beginner stages, where you have to commit fully to becoming a real swordsman. Most learnings happen here, most exchanges happen here in this stage. Most failure also happen in this stage. Crusader squads are always in the thick of it all, and the same goes for our beginner phase. So sparring, drilling, failing, and repeating it. Most sword fighters don't need to become elite, they need to survive this Crusader squad phase. And the most time that I've spent is inside of this phase, only training with padded longsword and a fencing mask, where I've learned most of my skills and my real techniques. And that's why right now I'm also dangerous with a steel longsword as well, because I know the basics, I've learned them, I know the fundamentals. Of course, no one's perfect, everyone needs to train their fundamentals, but this stage is the most crucial one, because this is really where you have to repeat the fundamentals thousands of times, fail and still repeat them. Of course, with someone helping you out along the way. Next stage, which is more elite type of unit, are Sword Brethren. And this title is earned through advancement, not just time spent. So the Sword Brethren are the chosen Space Marines by the Marshal's Crusade, which consists the Marshal household in a way. They are elite force of very skilled Astartes. And their title is not earned through the years served inside of the Crusade or just climbing up the rank ladder. They earn the title of Sovereign through the epic deeds, through their tactical skills, through their leadership, and through their steel resolve. Yes. And also, Sword Brethren, or just one Sword Brethren, usually leads one Crusader squad. Sword Brethren title shows us that your advancement is not about how long have you been training. It's about consistency, it's about decision making, it's about your composure under pressure, so your plateaus, but most of all, your intention to train the right way. And this is why some swordsmen level up so much faster than the others, even though they may have started out just later. And this is why others stagnate for years. So this is what I really like about the Sword Brethren. They are not fake, they are real skilled warriors and also leaders in a way. And this is why any one of us needs these coaches, these better people, our mentors, right? Who can teach us in the most hard way, right? Through sparring with them, through fighting with them. They will expose your failure time and time again inside of sparring, right? And that's the whole point. So in my case, training with my clubmates who are way above in skill than me, at least for now, makes me to aspire to become just like them. They show me the level that I can reach by striving to be just like them. I'm being pulled forward by their example, not just pure ego. So, in short, what I mean, Sword Brethren and the allegory to us is that skill is recognized, it's not announced. So, moving on, let me talk about the leaders of Black Templars, which are Castellans and Marshals. And they mean real responsibility, not just fake status. So, Castellans, in short, are fighting commanders. They are tactical leaders of battle groups under the watchful eye of the Crusade's Marshal. And the Marshal himself leads the whole Crusade by example. But if a Marshal dies, there are honor duels between Sword Brethren and Castellans to decide who is going to become the Crusade's Marshal. It's not about just politics, it's about real skill and real acknowledgement of leadership. So earned loyalty. Higher skill actually also means higher responsibility for others. If you fight well and you're good, you're expected to lead by example. You're expected to train beginners, newcomers, and even intermediates the right way, training them correctly. But you're also supposed to uphold the standards. Ego has no real place in this stage. So how it ties into our sword fighting practice? First of all, you have to trust your coaches. You have to trust the process that they are teaching you this way and not the other way. They may not show you for now every technique that you can use, but they will show you what you're supposed to train right now in your stage. But actually what helped me out was paying my coaches for individual lessons, and I plan to do it even more. So I'm voluntarily submitting to their corrections even when I fail. But that's the real way that I can grow even faster. The next iconic image of the Black Templar is the iconic position of the Emperor's Champion, which means pure and full commitment to the art. Any full Astartes actually can become the chosen Emperor's Champion. And actually his rank doesn't matter whatsoever in this. In lore, it means that if he gets the Emperor's vision of slaying his enemies, he will be tested by the Black Templars chaplains or execrators for his purity and for his corruption. And after that, if he passes these tests, he gets the Artificer armor, which is way better armor than the usual Space Marines got, and the Black Sword, which is the relic sword made for slaying commanders and champions. So his whole position in the crusade is to seek out enemy commanders or champions and slay them in close combat with sword, which is don't get me wrong, it's very cool, right? After the crusade, if the Emperor's Champion survives in the first place, he steps down from this role. So the Emperor's Champion is not permanent status, but it's a moment of absolute commitment to the art. But how it really ties into the HEMA, right? The HEMA training. In my mind, I see it as a phase of your life when you're fully committed to training your sword fighting skill. Of course, it may be the other weapon than just the longsword. It could be saber or any kind of, I don't know, other sword. The thing about the Emperor's Champion and how it ties into the HEMA training, as I see it, it's the phase in your life when you're committing your 100% to achieving your goals in sword fighting, achieving your peak potential by going to different tournaments, testing yourself out with anyone. And I mean it. In HEMA, it means choosing stronger opponents than you are. It's entering tournaments with the intention to win them. So stepping into fear voluntarily. Sometimes you're not chosen to be comfortable. Sometimes you're chosen to be tested actually. And this is why plateaus often precede these moments, because it's just the usual part of our path. That's why quitting here in this stage is completely tragic, in my opinion. The Black Templars also have their battle cry, which is no pity, no remorse, no fear, which in HEMA we can also use by changing a bit of the wording, which is no pity for excuses, no remorse for choosing the hard path, and no fear of slow and painful progress. Also, the Black Templars before each battle have to choose one from the 4 main vows, which are suffer not the unclean to live, uphold the honor of the emperor, abhor the witch, destroy the witch, and the 4th one, which is my favorite one, accept any challenge, no matter the odds. I spent most of my time thinking about how I can tie in those first 3 vows to HEMA training, right? Maybe the suffer not the unclean to live and the abhor the witch, destroy the witch may mean that, first of all, we have to get rid of our self-doubt in our mind. Uphold the honor of the emperor means that we have to respect our club, respect our coaches and our clubmates, but most of all, the art. And the 4th, which is accept any challenge, no matter the odds. This is actually the vow that I made to myself when I went to my first tournaments. The first one of them was, of course, Turntown 2025, which was very hard to compete in. There were a lot of different high-skilled fencers that I had to fight. And I knew that along the way I will lose, right? But this vow actually made my resolve even more powerful. When I faced against people that I knew from the HEMA ratings, from the top, I knew that I may lose, right? But I still didn't make their work easier. I made it harder. I made them to pay for each point. So I was not done mentally before they actually defeat me with points. The accept any challenge no matter the odds is actually what made me to push through even more. Even though most of us are usually exhausted after each training, right? But those repeated losses, those plateaus that we get along the way is actually what we have to push through. And what made me to fall in love with this faction is that Black Templars, even if they fear of failing, they still do it. They still push through. They're not ever done with their craft, with their war. There's always another fight. And so people may think that Black Templars are zealots, and you'd be right. They are zealots, but they're not idiots as well. So you have to train with structure. Every one of us needs feedback. Every one of us needs battle brothers along the way that can teach us the proper mechanics of actually sword fighting, right? And that's what I do. That's what is my mission for now, is to help out newcomers and beginners, just like me around 2 years ago, who didn't knew how to start, didn't knew that all it took is to just get a padded longsword, a fencing mask, and a sparring partner to spar with. And also a watchful eye of someone who actually knows stuff about it, right? So that's why I recommend you to check out my free school community called START SWORDFIGHTING, where I posted my free longsword program for newcomers, which is a very actionable step-by-step guide on how to actually start sword fighting without expensive gear nor extreme fitness. So if you like this silly video topic, then scroll down and subscribe to this channel, and also leave a comment on what you think about the Black Templars. Well, Black Templars saved my mentality. It saved me because they have this crusader mindset that they are never done. The mastery never ends. The pursuit of mastery never ends. And that's why I really like them, because they are never done. They know that they have to push forward. They have to go forward. Just like my coaches. Even though they are worldwide champions, right? They don't feel ever that they're done, that they're already there, even though some of them already are there, in fact. Yeah, if you need my help, if you need my recommendation, my feedback on sword fighting forum, or just how to start training longsword for sword fighting, then check out the link in the description where you can find me and also fight me, right, through the DMs or just posting in this community. Yeah, so click and join the community right now. And remember, always take the initiative.